Alrighty, everybody, and welcome to this month's Anime Paint Night. Now, this one's pretty special. This one is a little bit of a tribute to Akira Toriyama, the father of Dragon Ball Z and many other works. So we're going to be actually doing Goku this month. Yes, Goku. Base Goku, so no Super Saiyan form, so we're going to be kind of calling back to Dragon Ball. You'll have your reference sheet that shows him in his many different iterations, even when holding Gohan. We'll have your paint and your paintbrush also in the kit. And in addition, just make sure you have some paper towels. You can get that on your own. And of course, make sure you have a cup of water for your paints. So let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, now as per usual, I usually like to start out with working on the skin tone. So let me just put my palette and the paper close together. I was like trying to be very precise here. I think I move it a little bit more. I'm trying to figure out where to put the water properly. I know. Eventually I will get to start with painting. I don't know why I didn't cut this out. Ah, yes, here comes the paint. So I get a little bit of water, I get a little brown, then I kind of like wipe the brush a little bit on the palette cover itself, just to make sure it's really light. So it's a little bit more accurate to his skin tone. So get a little bit of pigment, dab, and use the water to spread it around. You'll begin to see a little bit of pigment on there in the image. There you go. Got a little bit more there. We're not really trying to put too much color on the brush. We're trying to use more water than we are paint, just so we can allow it to be a little bit of a lighter feel, except in the areas that are covered, like his little ear over there. Trying to get a little bit of shading. And of course, when we're done with the face, we'll start moving towards the hands, of course. Again, still following the same rule to begin with, more water than that of pigment. But once you start being comfortable with what you have as your base layer, you can start adding a little bit more color, especially during the bigger areas like this hand right here. I'm going to need a little bit more pigment so that I actually have pigment to spread around with the water. So you'll see that I have a little bit more color there. There we go. Trying to get the fist. There we go. Nice. We're almost done there. Add a little bit more towards the neck area, and because it's the neck and the back area, we'd like to add a little bit of shading so there's a little bit more pigmentation there. And then we're going to finish up the hand over here that's punching. There we go. Get a little bit more water. Spread that around. There's a little bit of his arm showing near the foot. And what you saw there was just like, maybe I should add colors to those in the background too. Like, no. Want to focus on like the biggest picture, biggest focus. This part right here, you can make it that color, or you could actually do blue. I think there was a little bit of lack of clarity and fidelity of if that's the undershirt that Goku wears or if that's his skin tone. But either way works. Then we're going to get a little bit of red for his tongue, because his mouth is wide open, screaming and such. He's not doing a Kamehameha, he's just throwing a punch. So like going back to classic Dragon Ball days for like his martial arts background. And then before we finish this section, we're actually going to start working on a little bit of the undershirt there, and also his wristbands and such. And those colors that we're going to be using is a little bit of the light blue and the darker blue combined together, just like the first layer. Get started. There we go. I add a little bit more pigment there to make it pop a little bit more. Yep, just make sure you got it all there. Good. And then, before we transition to the other section, I actually start a little bit on his gi. But we're actually going to be doing that a little bit more in the next section, but you'll see me pick up the orange. But for now, I will see you in the next part of the video. Alright, so now we're going to continue on working on his gi. So yes, you guessed it, it's his iconic orange outfit. Yes, his wonderful gi. He's had many different masters, but like you're never really going to go too far without seeing him in his trademark orange. Yes, his trademark orange. We'll just make sure that that is defined and profound. Get a little bit there, and we'll move on to the next section. Alrighty, and the next thing that we're going to be working on now is Goku's hair. So, for our anime paint nights, our hair is usually one of the most defining features that we work on. And I know that Goku's hair is not very colorful right now, but as we know about Goku, sometimes he goes Super Saiyan. It's basically when he powers up very, very strongly and stuff like that. And his hair goes through many, many, many different colors. Super Saiyan 1, 2, and 3 are blonde, sometimes with different effects, sometimes with different hair length. We've got Super Saiyan God, which is red, magenta, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, yes, that's the name, blue, or Super Saiyan Blue, a lot easier. And then we have Ultra Instinct, which actually, if I had left the hair not colored in, it would have been closer to that. It's silver, platinum, sometimes depicted as just straight white and such. And I'm sure there's another one that was missing in there, but Goku's original hair is black. So as I'm going through here, I just want to make sure that it's clear that despite it being black, it's still iconic because, his hair is got that iconic spikiness that we all know and love. It's always looks like he's got bedhead and such. So, yeah, and also once we do the black a little bit, it kind of the piece starts coming together a little bit. I always get a little surprised by that. But we're going to go ahead and do some shading for his skin tone now. So we're going to go back and get a little bit more pigment for the skin tone and put it in areas that are shaded. So right underneath his bangs, the ears, the bottom part of the neck, under the eyes. And now we're adding a little bit more shading and definition to the fist. The last thing they see before they get knocked out and stuff like that. Yeah. Many an enemy has fallen to these hands. Rated E for everyone. Anyway, let me calm down. But, adding a little bit more shading here and there. Take your time with it. Use that water to distribute. Get the fingernail as well. Darken up the lines over there. We just want to make sure that we're able to that they're even. Oh, and he has little shock lines around him. So I added a little bit of blue just to complement the orange that he wears and such. Since we don't get to see a lot of the blue in this pose, I thought having the blue for the action lines would be appropriate. Adding a little bit of shading for the teeth. There we go. And then I believe I'm going to go back over to the hair and I'm going to actually darken up the lines again. Now, when I do this, I'm aware it's watercolor. It's going to dry, so it's not necessarily going to be this jet black once I'm done with this layer. But it'll be a second layer of black, so it will be darker. So if you would like to make it really, really dark, I would recommend doing 3 to 4 layers, making sure you dry in between. Highly recommend that. But I'm okay with this one. I'm okay with what it will become after it dries. I just want to make sure it's still nice and jet black and defined. I didn't like how gray it was, so that's why we're going around this. So after we do the hair here, we're going to move on to our letters and the background Gokus. Alrighty. So now that we've got his eyebrows and his hair all looking good and such, get a little bit of that little alfalfa hair back there. We'll start moving over to our next target. I'm going to go back to the orange. We're going to start working on the letters, Goku. I usually don't put the name of the character in the anime paint night because, we already know the name of the person. But I wanted this really to feel like a little bit of a tribute, which is why I have so many drawings here. I was just like, I just don't want to have one drawing. I want to also like show that he's like doing martial arts and stuff. So I wanted to like do like a little sequence. So I drew 3 things this time, and I wanted to be like, yeah, Goku and stuff. And I even made the O a Dragon Ball. You can color these letters however you want. I just wanted them to be there. Now, for the Gokus in the back, you don't necessarily have to color them the same way that you have your Goku in the front as, but I'm just going to take my time and do it, but I'm not going to show the whole thing. Alright, now as you can see, our background Gokus have a little bit of color. I am going to go back to the letters, add a little bit of yellow just to make sure the letters pop out from the Goku that's behind, since the Goku's also got a lot of orange. Just want to make sure that there's a little bit more of a difference between the two. The yellow's not doing too much unless you add enough, but I'm still going to do it just to make sure it's different a little bit. Just a little bit about my relationship with Dragon Ball Z. Also adding the red for the stars of the Dragon Balls. I grew up watching this as a kid, and it was always something that was like really inspiring and really cool and awesome. We'd talk about it at elementary school or middle school and high school. Dragon Ball Z was a big part of my life, and Goku is my favorite anime character, so it was awesome that I was able to do this one with you all. I hope you all enjoyed, and I really hope you all enjoyed Dragon Ball 2. Rest in peace, Akira Toriyama, and well done to you all. See you next month.